John Gottman, Julie Schwartz Gottman, Douglas Abrams, and Rachel Carlton Abrams. The Man's Guide to Women. Scientifically proven secrets from the Love Lab about what women really want. There's an old stereotype, mildly offensive yet somewhat true, that men don't like asking for directions. Then there's another one that says men don't understand women. If you're a man who chose to open this blink, then congratulations, you've broken that first stereotype. And if you listen all the way to the end, you'll be well on your way to breaking the second. To many men, women really are a mystery. What they want, what they don't want, getting their attention, keeping their attention. It can sometimes feel like navigating a maze. Luckily, there's a team of scientists and researchers who have spent the last 40 years mapping out every twist, turn, and hidden door of this maze in their so-called Love Lab. This apartment-like laboratory setup has yielded empirical data on over 3,000 romantic couples. Heart rates, satisfaction reports, facial expressions, you name it, to paint a picture of how relationships work and what women want. This blink is just what's advertised in the title. It's the Man's Guide to Women. You're going to learn what the scientific research has unveiled about the tendencies of the female mind, and how to get and maintain a healthy, loving relationship. Quick note, if you're looking for scams or tricks to get women into bed, then you're not in the right place. While some of what we cover will likely increase your chances of that sort of thing, it'll purely be because you've become a more desirable partner. This blink's sole purpose is to help you read and interact with women so you can present the best version of yourself. No deceit necessary. So let's get going. What do women actually want? The one thing that women want. Comedians have joked about it. Psychologists have analysed it. Chances are you've spent many a night lying awake ruminating on it. What is it that women actually want? Believe it or not, this question has a clear, one-word answer. Trustworthiness. Now, before you pat yourself on the back for not lying to and stealing from the women in your life, know that this goes a bit deeper. It's about reliability. You need to be consistent and accountable in your actions. The desire for trustworthiness comes from evolution. For centuries, women relied on men to protect them and their children. Even today, when a father isn't a reliable part of the family, children are 5 times more likely to grow up in poverty. Men are an important element of a relationship, and women need to be able to trust that they'll be there for them. This is a concern that's subconsciously going on through the mind of any woman you meet, and that'll be a deciding factor in whether or not she sees you as a potential partner. To boost your trustworthiness score, you need to demonstrate that you'll be there for her. The best way to do this is to make her feel heard and respected. If she feels like you care about her, she'll see you as trustworthy. Keep this acronym in mind whenever you're communicating with a woman. Attune. A-T-T-U-N-E. The A is for attend. If a woman is talking to you, let her know that you're paying attention. Switch off the football game or stop scrolling through your phone. Attention is the best way to show love, and it should be undivided. The double T's stand for turn toward her. Eye contact, physical orientation, and face-to-face conversation are all signs of intimacy for a woman. Next comes U for understand. Your undivided attention is useless if you're not comprehending what she's saying. Ask questions and make it clear that you're on the same page. Don't try to offer solutions or distract from the problem. Then there's N, which stands for non-defensively listening. If you follow the steps up to now, this should come easily. Don't let yourself get worked up, especially if the problem she's talking about is you. Finally, bring it home with E for empathize. If you can't pick up on how she's feeling from body language, simply ask her. Let her emotions feel valued and heard. It doesn't matter who's wrong or who's right. That's not the goal here. If you can learn to attune to a woman, it will set the foundation for every aspect of your relationship. Conflicts, sex, dating, everything. You need the right spark to start a worthwhile fire. Picture this. You're at a party, someone catches your eye, and you immediately want to get to know them better. What happens next? What mechanisms can take you from being complete strangers to having a successful first date? Well, first off, the woman is in control over who approaches her. Long before you initiate any contact, a woman will likely already be giving clear signs of interest or disinterest. If she makes quick glances in your direction, turns toward you, or runs her hands through her hair, she may be signaling you to approach. You can increase your chances of being the recipient of these signals by exhibiting non-verbal signs of social dominance. As silly as it might sound, try holding yourself confidently or slapping your male friends on the back to suggest that you're well-liked. If you can't tell whether the signals are being directed at you or the handsome gentleman behind you, try moving to another side of the room. If she shifts her glance and orientation to follow, you can be sure that she's ready for you to strike up a conversation. So do that, but ditch the pickup lines. Instead, use the trustworthiness techniques you learned in the previous section to create a safe conversation where you show genuine interest and are genuinely yourself. Ask open-ended questions about her and her life. She says she's a lawyer. Avoid making your best lawyer joke and ask how she ended up doing that. If she says her parents pushed her, ask her what she'd rather be doing. Don't dominate or force the conversation. Eye contact is essential. It's also useful to subtly mirror her body language. This is something humans do naturally, but be careful not to overdo it and seem like you're mocking her. Finally, when the conversation is coming to an end, try to briefly and lightly touch, not grab, her forearm and ask for her number. If you've done everything right and followed her signals, then you have nothing to worry about. You can carry these conversation techniques to the first date. Be creative with what you choose. Something fun or slightly adventurous is always a good bet. Fear stimulates the same part of the brain as sexual arousal. Obviously, don't actively try to frighten her, but something new or exciting like a roller coaster can get the brain working in your favor. Now let's look at taking things to the next level through romance and seduction. On the power of the first kiss and keeping things in perspective. Wild boar have an easier time with this romance thing. The males release a powerful sex hormone that fertile females go crazy for. No dating techniques or self-help blink necessary. Unfortunately, we humans don't quite have that all-beguiling musk and need to put in a bit more effort. Your natural pheromones do play a role in how attractive and unattractive a woman finds you, but you don't have much control over these. This doesn't mean you should neglect your personal hygiene. There are aspects of your smell you definitely can and should control. This is especially relevant in that crucial and thrilling romantic milestone, the first kiss. Not to add even more pressure, but this is a biggie. One study revealed that 66% of women had ended a relationship because of a bad kiss. So how can you do it right? Apart from the hygiene issue, there are a few things you can do to make sure it's a kiss to remember, in a good way. First up, confidence. You don't want to be too hesitant or unsure. That said, you should be absolutely certain she wants to be kissed. If she's looking at your eyes or lips and smiling, then lean in. If she pulls away, you've misread the signals. If she stays still or moves closer, then you're good to go. But no need to rush. Build anticipation and take it slow. It's a dance, and you'll need to read her reactions, not force it. Trust your instincts and let things proceed naturally. After that first kiss, it's time to start reflecting on what you're getting yourself into. Is this just a hookup, or the start of something more serious? Wait, what? You might be wondering why you'd start to logically weigh the pros and cons of getting into a serious relationship when your brain is flooded with oxytocin, the love hormone that makes you okay with not eating or sleeping as you obsess over this one person. It can even suppress your brain's fear response. Which is why it's more important than ever to look at the situation objectively. Do your values match? Can you imagine getting along once the honeymoon period is over? Because there are two truths you need to be aware of. One, the infatuation of the first kiss won't last. And two, people generally don't change. If you're sure you're ready for things to get more serious, then let's get more serious. It's time to talk about sex. For inspiration on how to be the ultimate lover, look no further than the humble porcupine. As you might imagine, the male porcupine would have a very bad time if he jumped in there, quills and all. So, to initiate sex, he first gently strokes the female porcupine's nose. If he's patient enough, she begins to close her eyes, then finally lowers her quills. While you might not want to adopt this exact methodology, hopefully the analogy is clear. Amazing sex, for her and therefore you, comes from reading her signals, knowing her body, and taking your time. Sex begins in the mind, so that's where you need to begin as well. Society bombards us with unrealistic beauty standards, which can make women feel self-conscious about their bodies. No matter how beautiful you think and tell her she is, your opinion will always be up against a self-image shaped by the media and generations of objectification. But you still have to try. Compliment her sincerely and often, and never make her feel self-conscious, even as a joke. A woman with a bad body image is going to be a lot less comfortable with you. If she feels physically and emotionally safe, then everyone is going to have a better time. As for the physical act itself, you need to get out of the all-too-common routine of focusing on just her lips, breasts, and vagina, and ignoring the rest of her body. Every part of a woman is an erogenous zone at the right time, and every time you make love, you're creating a story together, so make it fun and interesting. If you think that all the techniques and nuances to pleasing a woman can be summarized in one section of a well-written and beautifully narrated blink, then that might be your problem. The woman you're with is complex and unique. There's really only one person who can teach you about her, and that's her. So don't be afraid to ask her what she likes. At the very least, pay attention to her reactions. Sex should be a shared, personal experience. Do you know what can't teach you about sex? Porn. The mass production of increasingly unrealistic male fantasies might be a fun distraction for an afternoon, but if you're looking to satisfy a woman, then it would be hard to find a worse teacher. Learn from her and with her, and when in doubt, think of the porcupine. Love, conflict, and the rest of your life. You've done it. You've navigated the dating world, you've presented the best version of yourself, and you've found someone who wanted exactly that person. The emotional wave of that first few weeks or months has begun to level out, revealing the exciting and expansive seas of a long-term relationship. But it's not quite smooth sailing from here on out. With any relationship, conflict is inevitable, so it's important to be prepared and to understand the different ways of dealing with it. If you feel you've had a hard time meeting conflict the same way as your partner, that's because men and women have fundamentally different approaches. Research shows that men tend to get more overwhelmed than women when dealing with conflict, which leads to unproductive reactions. If you find yourself getting defensive, critical, or just emotionally shutting down, then you're probably escalating the problem. Women are generally better at regulating their responses and can swim in the same ocean of conflict where many men drown. But don't worry, you have some options if you want to keep a level-headed approach to conflict with a woman. For instance, you can try simple breathing exercises or counting to 10. If that doesn't work, then simply take a break. This doesn't mean running away from the fight. Instead, just let her know that you need some space to think and that you'll come back to the issue. Most women will appreciate this thoughtful response. But sooner than later, you'll need to address the problem. Remember that women want to feel heard and respected. It comes back to the trustworthiness discussed earlier. No matter what the issue is or how you feel about it, there are 3 simple questions you can fall back on in any conflict with a woman. What is it that you need? What are you worried about? Can you tell me how you're feeling? Conflict is unavoidable. Your job is to stay in control of your reactions and to make your partner feel heard. If you do this, you'll be amazed at how easily a solution will reveal itself. Your success as a couple isn't about your ability to avoid conflict or about how closely your interests match. It's about compatibility, how well you can work together to solve a problem and express and share affection despite the inevitable disagreements. Commitment is a journey. If you're having fun exploring, despite the dangers and unknowns, chances are that she's the one. You've just listened to our blink to The Man's Guide to Women by John Gottman, Julie Schwartz Gottman, Douglas Abrams, and Rachel Carlton Abrams. The key message here is that whether a relationship lasts or fails is ultimately up to you. To be the best version of yourself, you need to truly understand women, what they want and how they think. If you're genuine, passionate, and interested in her, she will see you as trustworthy, which is generally a woman's most important criteria when becoming romantically involved. Keep this in mind in all aspects of the relationship: dating, kissing, sex, even the inevitable conflicts as things get more serious. Sure, women can be a confusing mystery, but that's not a reason to be afraid. Love is an adventure, and there's always more to discover. Embrace the mystery and love her with everything you have. Thanks for listening, and feel free to leave us a rating, as we always appreciate your feedback. Hope to catch you again in the next blink.